Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, dogs, cats, whatever you might be, welcome back to the podcast known as Ridin The Pine. My name's Drake White. Here's my co-host, Martin Irving, and today we have another guest speaker. Put your hypothetical hands or flippers together for Zoe Paize.
What's up?
Ceilings up.
I have real hands. I can actually put them together.
Thank you, thank you. I appreciate the applause.
Yeah, welcome to the shit show, the circus, whatever you might want to call it, where we have fun every day of the week, all day, every day.
I think I'd call it a pretty good podcast.
Yeah, pretty good podcast, all 20 views.
Wow, that's the first time we've been called pretty good. We're stepping up in this world.
That's a step up. Holy crap.
Got to start somewhere.
Typically it's, I watch it while I'm using the bathroom. So, I mean, that's a step up. I love that.
We've actually been told that.
We have been told that at work multiple times. Thanks, Aaron. Love you, buddy. If he's watching, he'll say it back. Oh, boy. All right. So we have probably a bit of a shorter episode today, but, nonetheless, we have an expert in the sports field, if you want to call her that. She's the same age as me. She's in the same year as me, but somehow she's done more in sports than me, probably because she actually applies to things. So, Zoe, I got one, to open up, I just want to make it known to everybody that, your entire existence has been Canucks fan, and probably like the last 10 years of it has just been pure misery. Now they're actually good, and you probably watch every game. Why are they good?
Well, I mean, I don't really get to watch every game, stay up pretty late doing that over here in Ontario. But you know what? I think the one thing I've been harping on a lot when I talk to people about this is just systems. Rick Tocchet has he's very different from Bruce Boudreau in this way, who was like kind of a more like laissez-faire kind of coach. He never really like laid out a whole lot of expectations. At least that's kind of how I understand it. Rick Tocchet, on the other hand, he really likes his defensive systems. He likes his players to play a certain way. And it's really given this team a lot of structure that I think they really need. They're a little bit on the younger side, especially with the departure of guys like Louis Eriksson and Antoine Roussel and all those guys a few years ago. They really need somebody to tell them what's what. And they need to like kind of have that like system that they can play within where they know their role.
See, I remember warning you the moment that Rick Tocchet was signed, having to put up with him on the Coyotes where he was running a defensive system with offensive defensemen. Then you got Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and it just kept going worse. So apparently getting rid of Ekman-Larsson, maybe he's been the problem the whole time.
I mean, you're not wrong. We've definitely upgraded on defense. Philip Hronek has been, and I'll admit to being a hater.
Stud. Oh my God.
Yeah, I'll admit to being wrong about that trade when it first happened. I was not happy about that, thinking that we gave up a first-round pick for another defenseman that was going to turn out to be nothing. Couldn't have been more wrong, as it turns out. Now we have a guy that actually can defend to complement Quinn Hughes's game, guy that can rip 100-mile-an-hour slap shots off if he wants to. Yeah, he's been great. Obviously, that's been a lot of help. Carson Soucy, although he's out now for a couple of months, so that hurts. Guys like Ian Cole, and even just like the guys already in the lineup stepping up. Tyler Myers has been better. Quinn Hughes, obviously, on a warpath to winning the Norris this season. I don't even know who else besides like Cale Makar might be able to catch him at this point.
No, like Quinn Hughes is so good right now that, I mean, he currently leads the league in points. This guy could legitimately be the first defenseman to win the Art Ross since Bobby Orr back in, what was it, like 74, 75, like for 50 years ago. Quinn Hughes is a different animal today.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going on with that guy. I love it. I'm here for it. He actually scored goals now.
And there's a offensive help up front too. Brock Besser's having a career season. I think I saw earlier today that he's tied for second in the league in goals behind only, I think, Kyle Connor and Austin Matthews.
Yeah, Matthews and Connor are tied at 13, 14, 13?
I think it's 14.
something like that.
Good company to have.
So happy I picked that guy out of free agency and fantasy. So you watched me do that at 8 in the morning.
I did watch you do that.
Yeah, that was a good time. That was a good pick. I'm happy with it. Too bad I'm losing to you this week anyway.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm losing.
I gotta look at this. I don't know if that's real.
Yeah, I'm losing right now.
Especially if it's to me.
Yeah, I'm losing. I know. That's what I'm freaked out about.
I also got Besser
One
in
game.
free agency.
Wow. Underrated. Well, I mean, he did have a kind of a not great season last year, although that's not fully his fault. He went through a lot of shit last season, but am I allowed to swear on the podcast? I'm sorry.
As long as you don't push it further than that.
All right.
You can stay with that one. If not, Martin's gonna freak out that he has to edit them out. So I try not to. I'm bad influence.
The minimal stuff I have to edit, the better.
All right, very cool. I'll try to keep it PG from here on out.
PG-13.
Canadian TV PG. That's
Mature.
very different from American.
I am beating you.
I told you.
It's only Tuesday.
I checked it this morning. It's over. Right?
It's so over.
St. Catherine's psychotic salami are falling.
It is over for you.
It's over. It is
unfortunately.
No.
Unfortunately, it's also over for me. I'm still last in the league, I'm pretty sure.
Don't worry, I'm on my way to it. I've had a miserable last 2 weeks because I keep forgetting to set my lineups. The only reason I'm pretty sure Martin in our league, the guy I'm playing has like 80 points already.
Yeah.
I have 6.
Yikes.
He's projected to finish with 300 on the week. I'm projected for 150. It is over. Guys doubled me in games.
I'm playing our first place guy, and I'm like 20 points ahead of him right now.
I keep choking leads and forgetting to set my lineup.
I did last week. I was up by 40 and I lost by 90.
If I remember to start Nylander, I win the week. Unfortunately, it was 8 o'clock in the morning, so I was not awake to set William Nylander on my roster. So then I was then offered Drew Doughty for William Nylander by a team called the Wombats.
I woke up that morning and Willie already scored the OT winner, and I'm like, wait, what?
Oh, I was awake for that. I was out bowling. I was watching it in the bowling TVs. Hey, trying to think of a new question. I got one, Zoe. You've also had the great privilege of getting a job that I also applied to. The difference is I never heard back from it. You actually got the job. You know, you got to go work at the PWHL draft. Any cool stories there? Any cool people you got to meet?
Oh boy. I mean, well, meet is a strong word. We never really got to talk to a whole lot of the people there. You know, obviously it's a really busy day, right? Like the event and this is really impressive, honestly. The event was set up in about 2 weeks' time. It was in the CBC headquarters in Toronto, obviously. Really nice space. Really great setup for the draft. I was very impressed by it. You know, there were obviously it was really cool to see everybody there, like all of the like people that you look up to in women's hockey. You know, I joked about like how I survived the entire day seeing Marie-Philippe Poulin milling around there and not like passing out from the sheer weight of how awesome she is. Yeah, it was super cool. I would say that like Emma Malte was probably the best dressed on that day. I was really impressed with her, like with the like all the hot pink, that whole outfit. I thought that was really nice. Yeah, it was cool to see everybody there.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's like the first time that they've all been in one place. So apparently they're moving towards something now. What they're moving towards, I'm not really sure after seeing their jerseys and their logo, and their names, but they're going somewhere.
Well, the jerseys have been the plan since like at least before the draft. Like I was hearing at the draft, even that was going to be like just the plain jerseys without like any like team names or like logos yet. Just like some team colors, things like that. The thing about the jerseys is that like obviously they have to like get a ton of them manufactured and they have to go through all the copyright process first of like, you know, copyrighting names, designing logos around the names, copywriting those logos, things like that. They were really working on a tight schedule with those. So like, I mean, granted, maybe you could have given yourself a little bit more leeway in that. But I think with the time frame that they were working for, like, I don't know, I think it's hard to come up with anything much better.
Yeah, well, I mean, they merged like months ago now. I think we're going towards a year. So I was kind of expecting, a name that's a bit stronger than the Boston Wicked. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that actually goes incredibly hard. And maybe their logo is going to be dope when they finally do it. But I'm like, I hope someone wasn't paid big bucks to come up with those.
I'm coming around on Minnesota Superior, but I think you're right about
That
some of
one's
the other
all right.
ones.
But like the alert, the echo, the torch, it's just words, right? It's not like not like they're things or, it's just words. And it's not even like, everything's plural when you look at most sports teams' names. But these ones just like, yeah, no, the echo and the torch. Like name it the torches or the torchers. It rolls off the tongue a little bit, It's not great, but it rolls off the tongue a little bit better.
Yeah. I luckily at least like they have this time now, like between right now and then when their second season starts up to maybe like test a couple more names, maybe get some like fan input on some of them instead of just going with maybe what they've already trademarked. They have time now for their second season now that they've got these first year jerseys kind of out the door. And I think they've set themselves up to maybe not have like the biggest opening year of all time. But I think they've set themselves up to have success in the long run. And I think that's what really matters.
Yeah, well, I mean, the NHL was pretty boring and bland way back when they started too. Back in
Exactly.
the early 1900s. I mean, they expanded like that. So I'd assume with these guys, because I know was it the last league, they were getting ready to expand a second time. So I'm curious to see where this league will go. Because I'd imagine, they make their way in Alberta and, Chicago and Detroit, like those kind of markets. I can see them probably moving there within the next couple of years, maybe.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's obviously nice to see Montreal get one of the first initial teams, seeing as Montreal was the or rather the next expansion franchise for the PHF, and they were going to start their first season this year. Unfortunately, that didn't happen for them.
Weren't they last year?
No,
Last year.
no, they were coming up for this upcoming year.
I could have sworn they played last year.
I don't believe they did. No, I'm pretty sure it was just 6 last year, and then it was going to be the 7th. The Force was going to be the 7th this year.
I want to check this out. Montreal Force. I could have sworn we're a professional women's hockey team. Team was established, and yeah, they debuted in 22-23. They did play last year.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. Yeah,
How
they.
do I?
I'm looking at Wikipedia right now.
It was a
It's
very memorable inaugural season.
yeah, the team
Clearly.
was established in 2022 and debuted in the 2022-2023 PHF season. The Force played only in one season. The PHF's assets were purchased, and the league was dissolved at the season's end. And they actually had a cool looking logo too.
Oh yeah, the Force.
That
They had
logo
some really
was
great.
hard.
That's one thing that you got to hand to the PHF. All of their branding was really great.
Oh my God. Yeah, well, I mean, their logos looked good. The jerseys looked good. Like, I remember the Boston Pride had like the cool fade on it, where you had like the yellow jersey and like a black fade on the bottom. Like, they all looked awesome. And the players genuinely seemed like they loved playing in that league too, even if they didn't make a lot of money doing so.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, either way, right? I think that, obviously it's like been a little bit contentious the way that the whole like merger thing has gone down, but I think I just kind of hope for this league that, this is kind of the one that makes it stick. We've had 2 professional women's leagues fold in the last 5 years. It's just not good for the health of the sport overall. So I really hope that with the financial backing that they have, with the start that they are having, especially with like how professional the draft was. Even for like all of the, missteps that they have had so far, those are like relatively small. It's like the things like the branding and that kind of thing. I think that they're on the path to success.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think this is the first time where they've had all like the top players in the world like all in one spot this year. So at least
And
they
that's
have
going to be a huge
going for it.
marketing draw. Seeing the best PHF players going up against the best PWHPA players, like that's going to be a huge, huge draw. Especially once some of the bigger names who maybe weren't drafted to teams end up getting signed. Michaela Grant-Mentis obviously is at PWHL Ottawa's camp. Carly Jackson is at PWHL Toronto's camp, and Kelly Babstock, who she was one where I was not totally sure why it was her and Michaela Grant-Mentis. I wasn't sure why either of those players weren't picked in the draft. I thought that they would be shoo-ins for like the first few rounds. But yeah, Kelly Babstock is at Boston's camp, I believe, either Boston or New York. I can't totally remember. Once those players like get into the league, get on these contracts, and are competing with the women who are kind of like in the championship, like national teams, I think that's going to be a huge draw.
Yeah, well, it'll be like the NHL, right? You got your superstars, and then, right, not everybody there is going to be a superstar. So it really evens out the talent where before, the talent was strong, but there were two separate leagues. So it was kind of like the NHL and the WHA, right? Where you got two separate leagues. They're both, one has the better players, but now that you got to the two of them, it's a lot more equal, right? You can't really stack a team anymore.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting because really you have 6 stacked teams.
Yeah, but then
Any
they're
one of
not
those
stacked,
teams.
so.
Yeah, any one of those teams realistically has the firepower that they need to, go out and win a championship in their inaugural season. And I think that's what makes this league so exciting leading up to it. Anything could really happen. It's going to be very, very close for all of the teams.
Yeah, and now watch the Toronto team's going to be the first one to take home a hockey championship. Let's think about it. The Six have won a championship in hockey. The Marlies have won a championship in hockey. What are the odds the Torch get it before the Leafs?
Could happen.
That
Could
would
happen.
be awful for Leafs fans. Leafs fans would actually be on suicide watch.
We're just used to it at this point.
I think we are used to it. We're used to the
We're
pain.
used to it.
Leafs will get there soon enough. I mean, Willie's on a friggin' heater, so maybe he'll go ahead and take the reins and just drag all of them to the cup anyways.
One guy ain't going to do anything. You look at Edmonton with Connor McDavid. Where are they right now?
Oh boy,
You
yeah.
only go so long on the backs of one guy before the place falls apart. No, the Leafs are something else. They're not good, not bad. I'm pretty sure we talk about this every episode.
We complain at least once a day about it.
That is true. We're almost as bad as Andrew.
Almost.
Almost. I've never seen the words "fire Yarmo" sent to me so frequently. Like I'm gonna have to get him on the podcast just to let him say "fire Yarmo, fire Yarmo, fire Yarmo" repeatedly until he like dies.
Just 1 hour straight of him saying fire Yarmo over and over and over again. You guys don't even get a word in.
I might just kick him. Yeah, for reference, Martin, I already told you that earlier. And even funnier is he actually kind of looks like Quinn Hughes. So the on-running joke now is that our buddy Andrew's gonna win the Norris this year.
It is so weird how much he does actually look like Quinn Hughes. Like
it is so uncanny. Like I photoshopped his face right on top of it, and it looked like natural. It was so funny. I don't know why though.
I used to work with a guy who was a dead ringer for Willie Nylander. Like dead ringer.
I used to go to school. The guy looked like me. It was weird. They called him knockoff Drake.
But I thought people didn't know who you were.
No. The people that did know me called him knockoff Drake. And they would tell the guy that he was just my knockoff. I was the better half.
The people that didn't know you were the knockoff.
No, because nobody knew me to begin with.
That's what I
Can't be
mean.
the
You're
knockoff.
the
You don't know
knockoff.
who I am. But based on the fact that this guy's name was Knockoff Drake and nobody knew who his name was, I would assume that means that nobody knew this guy either. Many joys of high school.
It's like wish.com battling with, I don't know. What's the wish.com version of Wish?
AliExpress.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
love
the one.
AliExpress. I don't buy anything on it. I just love the concept.
There's some wacky stuff I've seen sponsored.
I'm gonna put some crazy stuff on there one day. Might become an Amazon reseller or something.
You and Hunter can work on a business plan.
I should really do that. I'll start reselling Funko Pops. Business card and everything. I don't know where I put his business card, but it'd be funny if he was watching too. You know,
On my
ship
Austin Matthews one
what is it?
upstairs, I drew a mustache in Sharpie. We can resell it as a custom for like $200.
I mean, you probably could.
We could.
Someone would buy it.
We'd find some sucker. I mean,
I mean,
valued customer.
valued customers, my friend. Valued customers. We like money.
Money.
Money, 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 money. All right, Zoe, I got another question for you. And
Yeah,
it's
what's up?
incredibly controversial, and I already know your take on it, and you already know that I'm asking it. There's a specific player that you were not a very big fan of last year, and a couple big NHL blunders revolving around a rainbow that I'm pretty sure I spent 3 weeks reading nothing but two of you only talking about that. What can the NHL do to do this better?
Oh
Besides
boy.
just bringing it back, I mean, you know, what you would want to see as part of that community, but what do you think is the right way for the NHL to go about promoting that, potentially without stepping on incredible amounts of toes, but actually make it where it can last, people can accept it, and they can actually do something with it?
Well, I mean, I don't really think there's necessarily a way to, you know, promote queer acceptance in the NHL without stepping on toes. It's become unfortunately a really controversial issue within the last couple of years. My take on why that is isn't really important to it. But I think that probably just like the best way to go about it is just to like kind of not make it a to not make it like necessarily into a controversial issue that you're promoting it yourself. Like have the I think it's really amazing that I think every team now has a Pride Night on their schedule at least some point in the season. I think they need to keep doing that, and I think they need to keep being vocal about it. And I think that needs to happen without any caveats within it, right? The voices right now that are being very vocal about the fact that they are quite intolerant of queer people, I think they are a vocal minority. It's become a much more accepted thing these days. I feel it certainly as a queer person in hockey. I have found acceptance in this space that I haven't really in a lot of places in my life. I think that the few people who are being loud about this and making this into an issue are I don't think that how many was it, 7 people? I don't think
There was Provorov, Reimer, 2 of the Stalls. I want to say the other ones were also Russian, but I can't remember who. I can name 4 for sure.
Yeah, and well, obviously the Russian thing is a little bit different. There's conflicting reports about what's going on there, but
Who knows in Russia?
yeah, who really knows what goes on around there? But I don't think that the, voices of a half dozen ignorant people should be dictating the league's position that they have occupied for quite a long time now as a leader in men's professional sport on queer acceptance. Ever since Brian Burke started his initiative in honor of his son, Hockey is for Everyone, or You Can Play, I think is the one, if that's part of Hockey is for Everyone. It's been very much like a uniting factor for the league as more teams adopt messaging that is supportive of all of their fans rather than just some of them. And I think that, obviously the jerseys thing, I think that's a bit of a blunder on multiple levels, on the supporting your fans level, on the PR level, on the charity level as well. I think it's a bad idea. It is what it is. I don't think they're going to reverse that. And then obviously the pride tape thing too, which is just like so stupid.
That was ridiculous, especially when they tried to fine Travis Dermott for having a little bit of rainbow tape around the top of his stick. I'm like, come on, man. There's no way.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal. I'm glad that he didn't end up facing any supplementary discipline for it. But even that, like just having a player with like a little bit of this tape on his stick, like sort of pushing the league into reversing this decision that they made. Like, I really think that shows how like not actually an issue this is for the NHL. And it's more that they're responding to kind of a like cultural uproar that is like currently happening right now, that I personally think is related to the upcoming US election. I think that it's being pushed by a lot of maybe special interest groups ahead of that, seeing if like maybe a certain party can latch onto that as their kind of big thing for campaigning. That's just my theory on it, though. I really do think that the NHL should probably be a little bit more courageous in their stance on this, and really rethink a lot of the messaging that they have been putting out over the last year.
Yeah, well, I think one of the funniest ones was when you watch the pressers. Eric Stahl's in there. He goes, "Yeah, no, like I'm a really religious guy. I've never actually worn a Pride jersey before." And someone proceeds to post a picture of him wearing a Pride jersey when he was in Montreal. It's like to the point these guys they don't even remember that they've actually worn those jerseys after saying that, yeah, no, like I never wear these jerseys because like I'm heavily religious and boom, there's a picture of you in the rainbow jersey. Good going, you played yourself, buddy.
Yeah, and that's honestly like a little bit more insulting than even just like the plain homophobia itself. Like I think I said this like in a class that we were both in, if you're going to be homophobic, you can't also be stupid.
Yeah, you did say that. I remember that was like the first week of school you said that.
Yeah, it just seems like there wasn't a whole lot of thought that went into any of this, and a whole lot of it's just reaction, which is a little bit disappointing. Well, a lot of it disappointing,
That's the
actually.
NHL though. The NHL is reactionary. They never do the right thing. They just do whatever it is to fix the current problem they have, whether it's a good idea or not.
Yeah, that's a good point. They've never really been ahead of the curve on a whole lot.
They don't plan ahead, just like, say player X, who shall not be named, is accused of beating their wife. Yeah, the NHL is not prepared for that kind of thing, right? Like they just kind of go out and they do their own thing, right? They don't plan ahead. Something happens, they go, oh, we should probably do something about that. We're not going to think about how to do that. Oh no, people are upset with the decision we made, but we can't go back on it now. It'd be weird if we went back on that decision. It's so bad. Too bad we're keeping the bad decision. Like you'd think they would plan that stuff out and like actually talk about it, but it's like half the times it's like they discuss it like over lunch and then whatever decision they come up with before they go back to work is what they get.
Not a whole lot of brain trust in that office, I don't think.
No, I mean, there's a lot of brain trust in that office. Please hire us. We didn't say anything bad about your ability to do your job. Thank you.
Please give me a job. I love you, Gary Bettman.
I love Gary.
Heart.
I'm your biggest
Heart.
fan.
Biggest fan, Gary. Thank you for
I
bringing.
love the Arizona Coyotes.
We both went for the Coyotes. Thank you so much for not putting a team back in Montreal to deal with all the Montreal fans. I mean, Quebec. Thank you for not putting a team in Quebec. Now we got to deal with Montreal Canadiens fans. You should put a Quebec team back so we don't need to listen to them anymore. We can have the French guys go to a different team. Thank you. And thank you for giving us the opportunity to have a third Atlanta franchise. I can't wait for that in 2 years. Welcome back, Atlanta Thrashers.
Third time's the charm. Hey, Jinx.
Yeah, that's second time.
Thank you for apparently telling all your officials to rig every game for Toronto, every call in our favor.
Did you actually
Thank you for that.
about the officials? Did you see what Tim Peel was going on about the other day?
Yeah,
Where he's
that's a whole thing on its own.
Oh my God, he's running it. Zoe, have you seen this one yet?
I saw the one today where he was like yelling at Mark Spector.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
he's running
that's
his
the
mouth
one.
because Mark Spector and him are yelling at each other in DMs. So then Frank Cervalli comes and starts running his mouth at Peel, calling him an idiot and saying like I was supposed to be, like hidden. And he's like, like at least bonus, like class, I have to point out the ASS for you. Right. So he's going, he goes, yeah, well, you know what? It's nice to see that your buddy Mark Spector can't come and defend himself, maybe if he can defend himself, I'd respect him a little bit more. But, it's always the same. You guys always ask stupid questions, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh my God, he's such a head case now. He's
To be
like,
fair, that was a stupid question on Spector's part.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, this is hockey we're talking about. There's always going to be a stupid question. I mean,
he asks a lot of them.
We've all seen the Austin Matthews interview.
Yeah.
Hey, so you ran into the bar, what was going through your head with that? Yeah, I mean, I saw the crossbar, I was skating towards it, and I, decided, I put my face into it. Good question. Thank you. Like, they're gonna ask stupid questions, right? Just expect it. I mean, especially if, say, you're Leon Draisaitl. I mean, we discussed this one last week, I'm pretty sure, with the questions, right? It's like, you scored a goal. McDavid's like, yeah, it felt good. I forgot what it was like to score. Draisaitl, he probably said, yeah, scoring's good, and then gone into the crowd and strangled the reporter, probably. It's like the duality of man when you're asking them questions. And there's Jakub Voracek. Got to get that man on the podcast someday.
You set it up. We'll figure it out.
That should be my next jersey. My next Coyotes jersey, it's going to be a mix of, it's either going to be Kane, Weber, Little, or Voracek. One of those ones. It's going to be funny.
Get one of the contract dump jerseys.
Or should I get a Galchenyuk jersey?
I don't know if
I'll get a Galchenyuk jersey, and we'll do an episode where we're cooking spaghetti bolognese.
Yeah, yeah, that's a idea. That's all I'm gonna say. That's an idea.
I think we need to do it. We just got to figure out what jersey we're getting.
I think you should get a Louis Eriksson Arizona Coyotes jersey.
I kicked tires on Louis Eriksson, but I think it'd be funnier if I got someone that never actually played a game for them. They were just on the books, right? It's Patrick Kane, he was there for about 5 minutes, and they got like 6 dudes that are just sitting there like, get a Datsuk one. Like, I could just roll any jersey I get could be a major contributor of the 2015 Arizona Coyotes Stanley Cup winner. Specifically,
if you get the Galchenyuk, we got to serve turnovers for dinner. For dessert.
Don't remind me. PTSD. Oh, that man, double agent.
The man forgot who he was playing for.
Oh, wait, I thought I was a Hab. I saw red. Oops. It's weird because the guy had, he had like 5 teams between being a Hab and being a Leaf.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Well, I mean, he was actually good in Montreal, and he was actually the Arizona Coyotes' best player for a couple years. Then he just died as soon as he went to Pittsburgh. So my theory is that it's like Pittsburgh is where careers go to die, apparently. Look at Jeff Carter. Poor guy went there. Now he's not even serviceable.
Yeah, he's
They're even
he's
so bad now that they had to
warming
sign
up the seats in the
Samorukov.
press box.
Yeah, they had to sign Samorukov today. His Rushed is gone, and
Oh, did they?
yeah, well, Rushed is out, Ruhwedel is out, and
Who'd they just put on LTIR like an hour ago?
Ricard Raquel is out
Right, yeah.
long term, and then Chad Ruhwedel's out, and Brian Rushed is out, and Christ Martin. There's going to be not a single Penguin to watch when we go down. If Sidney Crosby gets hurt, I might cry.
Yeah, we get to watch the Scranton Penguins instead.
Who are they even going to call up? Like, just let us see Sam Poulin. I've been that guy's like number one op since he got drafted. It'd be funnier if I got to watch him score a goal against the Leafs.
I don't even know who their prospects are right now. They don't really have any notable prospects.
Leafs legend Philip Hallander.
Forgot about that guy.
Easy Hallander, and currently their backup lately was Magnus Hellberg. But you're gonna love this. But your boy Alex Nedeljkovic.
Yeah,
Playing pretty godly hockey lately. He's been better than Tristan Jarry.
I haven't seen Ned play since 2016, so that would be the odds of him starting are pretty good on Saturday. So
Yeah, they probably aren't going to play Jerry. All I want to see is Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin, and I've seen Carlson, so it doesn't matter.
yeah,
One of these guys will be a Leaf someday. One of them will be a Canuck. I'm thinking Ricard Raquel.
we almost had Carlson last year.
I honestly don't know. Like, you'd think the Canucks are going to make another move at the deadline. I'd like to see them go torture something from the Penguins.
I imagine it's going to be a defenseman, or like, yeah. I think probably a defenseman in the short term with Carson Soucy out. You can tell that they're really kind of struggling a little bit on the back end without him. So I imagine they want to shore that up pretty quickly.
Go out, get Chad Ruhwedel from the Penguins. Is he good? Yeah, he's an amazing sixth defenseman. Exactly what you need. Slots in perfectly with Noah Juleson and Mark Friedman.
Mark Friedman's been like ridiculously good for us. He's been a very noticeable player whenever he's actually gotten into the lineup.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so good that he doesn't play most of the games. Noah Juleson gets the games on him.
I do not understand that. Like, I like Juleson. I've always liked him. He's not really playable in the NHL lineup, unfortunately.
The Canucks also have Carlson. Not Eric Carlson, but they do have a Carlson.
They do have Linus Carlson.
No, not William either. They got Linus Carlson.
Oh, not Leo?
No.
Starts with a K. I mean, Leo doesn't play games anyway, so he plays 50% of the games. They should really play that man more. He would win. Like, he would win the Calder if they let him play every game. That guy is so good.
He looks really good whenever he gets into the lineup for the Ducks.
Oh yeah.
Maybe they weren't.
He had a hat trick.
He's got more hat tricks than Connor Bedard, who really is the bust.
I imagine if the Ducks are like looking into a wild card spot as the season goes on, I think they'll probably end up playing him more.
The Ducks are not looking at a wild card spot. They've fallen back off. They suck. Troy Terry's done nothing for them. Trevor Zegras has done nothing for them. The only thing with a pulse right now is Pavel Mintyukov and Frank Vetrano and Mason McTavish.
I mean, Zegras is on IR right now, so
Zegras wasn't good anyway. He had like 1 point in like 10 games.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know what happened. That guy held out like all season, like all off season, to come back and just not be good at hockey.
Yeah, he's definitely got something going on.
Trade him. Send him to Buffalo. They need another player. Buffalo also sucks.
If you guys need a defenseman on Vancouver, may I suggest
John Klingberg.
John Klingberg.
I think we'll pass.
No, he's really good. You want him. You want John Klingberg. You like offensive defensemen? John Klingberg's your guy. You want a Norris caliber PP1 defenseman? John Klingberg is your guy. You want a team-friendly deal of only $4.5 million for 10 out of 20 games? John Klingberg is your guy.
Well, we could use some LTIR space, so maybe John Klingberg is our guy.
That's exactly who you want. The asking price is a first, and Connor Garland.
I'll have to consider that. Definitely. That's a
He makes
reasonable
really good
offer.
breakout passes that end up on the stick of other teams.
Yeah, he's really good at that. He's an expert playmaker. Love him.
I have noticed that he is very, very good at that. Very talented man in certain aspects.
John Klingberg's found a way to make Justin Hall look like a savior.
Although in the
Hall's been
Sweden
pretty.
series, Justin
Oh,
Hall
sorry.
finally won a game for Toronto.
That is true. Justin Hall is a double agent after all. I always knew he had it in him. Never left Toronto.
Hall's
One,
looked pretty decent in Detroit, though.
I mean, he was like the league's leader in plus minus, if you care about that stat. Unfortunately, the Red Wings kind of suck again. They were hot for maybe the first 7. Now their top players just refuse to score so much that they're planning to sign Patrick Kane. Actually, Patrick Kane, I found his JFresh chart from New York the other day.
Oh boy, this should be good.
Oh, you're gonna laugh. Give me a second. I gotta go find it. I know I was sent in here because they were talking about how great Patrick Kane was. Um, oh no, it might not be here. He was like a 3% though. Like actually terrible. His offense non-existent, defense non-existent. Wasn't good on the power play. Didn't play the penalty kill. His finishing was average. Like, yeah, no, there was not much to like about Patrick Kane. Now he has like a bum hip. So God knows where he goes. I think he goes to Dallas, but somehow he's going to be a Red Wing and he's going to be like prime just because, everybody hates the Leafs.
I don't want
Who
him.
knew that injured players that are a few years past their prime might be a little bit bad when they play hockey?
Hey, I mean, Sidney Crosby and Joe Pavelski still at the top of their games. Those guys are aging like fine wine. Brad Marchand, fine wine. Zdeno Chara would probably still be good. Jaromir Jagr, why this man has not signed a new NHL deal, I do not know. But he should sign like a 1-day contract and play a game for the Penguins before they retire. Like the day that they retire his number, they should literally sign him to a 1-day contract.
I have a gut feeling he will play. I don't know
I
why.
think
I just have a feeling that he will play one
I
more
think
game
that
for
would
the
be
Penguins.
hilarious. Sign him to a 1-day contract to play a final game with the Penguins before they retire his jersey. It would be so funny.
I bet he
Yeah,
shows up
they
somewhere
they
weird
have to.
like Minnesota or like Winnipeg or something.
No, I think if you're doing it with Yager, you need to send him to where it all started, or send him to one of the 500 teams he's played for before. Get him to do like a loop, like 1-day contracts with every team he played, and they all retire his jersey the same day.
You could
Make
just
it
do like
happen.
a big tourney of it. Like he could go to New York, then he could go to Boston, and then he could go to Dallas,
Go to Calgary,
Florida,
go to
and then
Florida,
Calgary. Yeah.
Calgary.
I know I missed a couple there for sure, but
Yeah, what was it? Pittsburgh, Washington. He was Pittsburgh, Washington,
he was on the Flyers at one point too, I think.
Flyers, Dallas, Florida, and Calgary. I swear he was on an extra team.
Hmm.
Never forget that Florida had Roberto Luongo and Yager at the same time, and they didn't do anything with it because it was like 5 years too late.
I mean, it's not even like Yager or Luongo were even bad. The rest of the team around them just sucked. They were
Yeah,
relying
who
on
else did they
Mike
have back
Hoffman to be
then?
their best forward.
Ooh,
Senators legend. San Jose Sharks legend, too. So good for the Habs that they kept trying to trade my man.
So Yager was on the Penguins, obviously, the Capitals, the Rangers, Flyers, Stars, Bruins, Devils, Panthers, and Flames.
He was a devil?
Yeah, he was.
What was Yager a devil?
Let me go look.
Same time as Kovalchuk?
New Jersey Devils 13, 14, and 14, 15.
The hell?
wow. I don't remember
Yager
that
was
at all.
Me neither.
He just completed his Metro division bingo card right there.
Yeah, he only missed out on the Islanders. Sure, I
I
think
don't
that
blame
is.
him.
I think the
He
Islanders
could
is
have
the
played with
only team he
Tavares
didn't
though.
play for out there. Let's have a look at this. Conference. Actually, no, we'll go into division. Let's see. So yeah, as Metro, yeah, he was a Ranger, he was a Flyer, he was a Capital. He didn't play for the Hurricanes, and he didn't play for the Islanders, he didn't play for the Blue Jackets. The other ones he did. I don't understand this man. However, he, from the looks of it, oh no, he did. He played for a single Central team. Bring him back, let him play for the Kraken. Alrighty. And well, Martin, I know you have places to be. You got a warehouse to go to tonight. So I think we'll wrap it up.
Not an actual one. That sounds ominous.
Here.
It sounds very ominous.
Ooh,
Mhm.
spooky.
Ooh.
Before we wrap up, I'd just like to say happy anniversary to Mike Babcock getting fired from the Leafs. Today's the day.
I wrote a paper about that man last night and how being a bully can get you far in life.
Marc-Andre Fleury did us the biggest favor that night.
Love Marc-Andre Fleury. I mean, we did get Sheldon Keefe, so you know.
You win some, you
That's-
lose some.
That's
Marc-Andre
another
Fleury is the
episode.
reason that Patrick Laine got benched last night. Had Marc-Andre Fleury not gotten Babcock fired, he never would end up on the Blue Jackets just to get fired, so they hire Pascal Vincent, who doesn't know how to use his players. Thus, Patrick Laine gets benched. Never would have happened had Fleury not won that game and absolutely trashed Casimir Kaskisuo.
We could make this another episode. Just list of things Marc-Andre Fleury have caused.
Things that Mike Babcock has affected.
This is an episode waiting to happen.
Yeah, I think we need to do it. Trade tree.
Yeah.
All right, Martin, you want to take us out?
Alrighty. Yeah, I figured, I gave you the opening today, so
Yeah, exactly. So
it'd be
you
nice
get
to close things out.
You get to close it out.
Alrighty. Well, I'd like to thank our special guest Zoe for joining us on this edition of Riding the Pine.
Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Now we've gone 2 for 2 on guests saying they want to come back.
Actually,
Are
no,
we
we've
making
got 3
even
for
3 for
3.
3?
We've been 3 for 3.
I absolutely would love to come back.
We'll bring you back, and we'll get
Perfect.
Hillary Knight on here too.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, we'll have fun.
Excellent. Well, for my colleague and co-host, Mr. Drake White, I'm Martin Irving saying thank you for riding out on Riding the Pine.
Bang.
Finger guns.